Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Tony Holowitz from the John Anthony Group, and this tutorial is going to discuss the My Record and why it's important to know what the My Record does as it relates to ACT. When you open up an ACT database, the first contact or the first record you will see each and every time is your contact information. Generally it's your company information or organization information. The reason this contact is so vital to ACT is because it tells ACT how things have happened. In other words, if you go in and create a note on a contact, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, I know you might not know how to create a note, but if you create a note, it will reflect that you are the person that created that note. And I want to draw your attention right down here on the screen, right in this area. I put in a test note, and what I want you to observe is to the right where it says Record Manager, it has my name. Why that's relevant might not seem as important if you're the only one using this ACT database. But if there's a situation where your company potentially has salespeople and they're all sharing one database, if a person goes in and talks to a contact and makes a note based on that discussion, the My Record will put a note determining who put that note in there. And it will be right here under Record Manager. So in other words, if I were the sales manager, I'd be able to look at this contact, look at the notes, and recognize which person made that note. So that's why the My Record is relevant. Also, when you schedule calls, meetings, or to-dos, it will tell you who scheduled them, and it will also tell you who cleared them. So you have some different ways of using the My Record. Now that part might not seem as relevant if you're an individual user. Also, the reason the My Record is there, all your contact information, is when you use ACT to write a letter, for example, the letter will refer back to the My Record to recognize how to address that letter. In other words, if I sent a letter to John Anthony Group Tony Holowitz, it would put that information in the salutation area, but at the bottom of the letter, when it says who it's from, it will look at the owner or user of the database and reflect that that comes from that person. So that's why the My Record is so important. It just keeps track of information. And again, if you're the only one using the database, it's not as relevant. I mean, it's important when you write a letter, but overall it's not that relevant. But it's good to know that if your company grows and you want to add people to the ACT database, it has a good way of keeping track of what other individuals within your database are doing. So the My Record is very important. I want to thank you very much for attending this tutorial, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us in regards to the My Record. My name is Tony Holowitz from the John Anthony Group. Thank you very much.